Hi, this is 𝓚𝖃 coming to you on the Dark Times server for what is probably going to be the last time. I've talked about this before, and you know what I'm talking about. And you know what the situation is. I made mithril, shovel, try to get things done faster. And it was a disaster. A complete disaster. It still didn't get done very fast, and I'm still not done. And when I am done, I will have placed so much sand, and it still will not have filled the whole thing. I used up a small amount of mithril trying to make the mithril shovel a little bit better. That was a failure of an idea. It just took too long. And I'm not getting anything done. And I don't want to do it anymore. I have gone weeks without working on this. I've gone weeks without doing new videos. And I've gone and I tried my best. I tried to shore things up. I tried to find interest. I tried to find motivation. And I tried to get it all done. But I had so many other projects. And now I've got a project that, as you know, eclipses this project. And it is not a project you might think I would really like to be a part of. Or you might not want me to be a part of it. But which I do want to be a part of it. And what else have I got? Let's see what else I have. I got a lot of extra stuff. I'm not even going to take the cart back. I could just walk. I got to put away this shovel. The shovel's been great. But it's so slow. I've just done so much in life, and it's all been for naught. I intended to do a good thing, and then everything fell apart. Come with me on this journey, and we shall see what I've been through and what I'm trying to do. And we shall see what it means to be a person who goes through what 𝓚𝖃 has gone through since he started playing Lord of the Rings. And what is this deer doing in a cart? I forgot about that.
One day, 𝓚𝖃 woke up to find he was not on the mental block server anymore. What could have happened? Where was he? This is the story of how he got back.
That was my original intro to Terrain of Terror. Back in 2014, when I was trying to get away from mental block because I was getting a little tired of certain things that were happening, and I started trying to make my own series. I was trying to pursue a dream of playing a customized mode of Minecraft, which was just made available in a snapshot of 1.8. Everybody else was saying it was lagging their computers out and they didn't want to play it, but I wanted to play it, and so I played it, and played it. Pardon the old texture pack, by the way. I'd like to bring that old texture pack back, but never mind that. I played and played and played this thing, but the series ended up being a huge disaster for a very good reason. Namely because everybody was just so gung-ho about playing Mental Block. And even I wanted to keep playing Mental Block. And I did go back and play it. But I wanted to have a second series where I did stuff. And so eventually I did play this thing. I had trouble. Several episodes would go by. I was having trouble getting down to get the, what was it, iron. The iron was very, very far down. And there was no iron up there. And there was all sorts of other problems. And I had difficulty getting certain things. And you could just see it's taking forever for something that it's just not generating. The stuff is just not breaking. And so we had problems even from the start. And then there was Solo Block. The idea was I'd gotten tired of Terrain of Terror, and it was just too much, and it was too much editing, and there was too much problems, and I didn't want to play it anymore. I mean, I wanted to play it, but I was just under this huge pressure. So you can see here there's an amplified world. I said, I'm going to start playing a 1.7.10 amplified world. And the idea was that I really needed to get through some problems I was having. My mother was having difficulties, and she was starting the long downward. She'd been hospitalized, and she only lasted about a month longer after this, and eventually died. And I had real trouble putting up with all this. And so I said, this is what we're going to do, is I'm going to help work through this by playing this mod. I'm sorry, not this mod, this setup. Me trying to kill pigs, me trying to do stuff, some lag, not too much lag, but it's going to have shaders on, it's going to be this really great thing. I was like, I'm going to feel better from doing this, right? And of course the thing is it did help me feel a little bit better when I needed to. You can see there's a problem with the sun coming up because I think some of it is connecting to clouds or something. Some kind of problem. Here you can see me trying to punch a tree again. You can see the lag isn't so bad. So you can see quite clearly that this was something I wanted to do. But even this was something I was getting bored with after a while. You know, a few days of setting something up, a few days of building a little bit or tearing away some of a floor, an area. I'm going to build a small tower. I start telling anecdotes, and the anecdotes aren't funny. I start making up stories. I was in this position where I was just trying to be spontaneous with everything I was saying. It was not a good thing. And so, here it is. And now I'm going to make the bed. Oh, wait, I can't make the bed without... Let's put this here temporarily. Has anyone guessed what this is yet? And of course what it was Lord of the Rings mod had been installed. Episode 9 was by the time I was getting tired of playing the game the way it was, and I thought, since I wanted to do a series of Lord of the Rings, or not a series, but I wanted to do a showcase of it, because the mod hadn't gone very far yet, I said, well, let's just attach it to Solo Block and let's have a few episodes in Lord of the Rings land, or Middle Earth. And so I said, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to find, where have I put the lava? I go looking for the lava, and I'm going to throw it in there. And we're going to have the portal. And so I said, that's it. Just toss it in. And so I did, and a very strange transformation happened. Well, the first problem was the ring was above the ceiling, so I had to dig it to be able to see it. And there was also the problem was I was going to have to stand on the lava. But this was my dream of playing Lord of the Rings. Is I just wanted to play Lord of the Rings just to test it out, just to do a little bit of a video or two, a few episodes. Then I could go back to doing my regular stuff in regular overworld. And that's all that I really wanted to do. it wasn't meant to be entirely too serious. It didn't occur to me to block off the lava at this point, so I did this instead. Still not enough. Okay, there. Aha! I have come here, and some of the textures are no good. Now here's the map of Middle Earth. The complete map of Middle Earth contains everything. We don't have room for that, but we do have... There we are. I'm not going to do any fast traveling. I just got to figure out which way is east and which way is west, and ne'er the twain shall meet. This was a huge, huge step forward for me. I knew about Lord of the Rings mod. I'd seen it played, Paul Suarez Jr., a few other people. This was helping me to cope with things. My mother had already died, and we'd already started Season 6 of Mental Block, and I was itching to play that. But I wanted to do a solo thing, and I wanted to make a solo effort, and this was the solo block episode that started it all for Lord of the Rings for me. I'd been playing it a little bit after and before, but this was truly the first. I mean, this was a version that didn't have roads yet. There wasn't anything. I mean, I don't even know if there were hobbit holes. I don't remember seeing any. I guess there was one. I think I see one over there in the corner. But I don't remember going into them or anything. I don't remember very much. It's just I just started looking at the area and said, I'm going to build right here. I was even worried that we were going to get attacked. That orcs were going to attack Hobbiton, and I was going to be stuck with that. And so I start building something for the night, because the night's coming. And you'll notice there's a problem with the shaders. The shaders don't show the sun in the right location. Yeah, this was the beginning of the problem with shaders. This is the first, even this long ago, there were problems with shaders. I do not remember why I was making it to be like this and to have this like this and that like that. But, you know, it's a start. But then I just ended up building here. Building a tower here. And then after a while I realized that there was no point to having built a tower. And a pig tries to come into the place. That's about right. It's about right for this place. Come on, I want to place the bed, etc., etc., etc. And I was thinking the bedtime was soon. I didn't know about the 20-minute day. I eventually built walls around this, and I eventually got tired of it. Not because there wasn't any roleplay available, but because I just didn't know why there wasn't any action going on. Where's all the fighting? Where's all the orcs? So I vowed to go to Rivendell. The way to Rivendell was long and hard. I traveled many an area, and there were no roads back then. No roads is a very serious matter. I spent much time, and then I found this ravine. And I was just so amazed by it, and I said, I've got to go down there and see what there is down there. I'd never dug all the way down before in Lord of the Rings in Middle-earth, and I didn't know what was down there or what kind of ores there were. I'd played a modded server before, a modded map before, but this was something else. So I wasn't sure what I should do. And so eventually I went down there, and I spent an episode or two looking for it. But I don't really know why I was doing that. So I decided I was going to just jump down, which I think I ended up doing. And I survived. I don't remember if I landed in water. I think I was trying to land in water. Everything was weird, and it was all weirder because the shaders weren't working perfectly, because of the problem that Lord of the Rings has with shaders, as Mind of Mike can attest. I hadn't yet even joined anything with other people in it. This was one heck of a thing. I did eventually fight some creatures in the area, and I did get killed a few times. And that just set up the next map. Set up the next problem. Get to that in a minute. Here we go. Oh, I'm too scared to do it. I gotta do it, but oh man, I'll never get back here. This isn't a ring portal. I don't know if I could ever do a ring portal again. Ring portal. Oh, gotta be done. Gotta be done. Here we go. Geronimo! Ah! What I had done was I'd created a portal, a fake portal, obviously, for the purpose of getting out of the Lord of the Rings world. Because not that I'd gotten tired of playing it, but that I wanted to go back to the overworld of Solo Block. But I had this idea that instead of playing the Solo Block overworld, that I was going, the heck, I don't remember that. I decided to change it over. I was going to do something new, and it wasn't going to be Solo Block anymore. So I decided to do something called the 𝓚𝖨𝖗cast. I still think the 𝓚𝖨cast is a viable idea, but it's going to take a long time before I get back to doing it, if I ever get around to doing it. And the idea was I was going to build a gigantic palace grounds, the whole thing on a flat area. And outside the flat area was going to be a regular overworld, or maybe a customized overworld, or maybe some other kind, like a amplified, just something. And I added a lot of mods. There were some versions of 𝓚𝖨cast that had a lot of mods. There were some that had almost no mods. There were all kinds of crazy little things being done. And there wasn't anything I could do to keep the whole thing stable enough that I could keep playing it. I wanted to make the best possible palace. And I still want to. I still want to work on that. Because I remember my old builds in which I actually designed this thing in creative mode. But I wanted to play it in this mode, and I thought it was going to be a tremendous challenge, even though I had to get a lot of clay blocks, and there weren't any locally. And so that was the main reason why this never got very far. One of the things I was doing was that these grass blocks, sometimes the grass blocks had to be, sometimes I wanted them to be slabs so I didn't have to keep going to sleep at inopportune moments. And then there were times when we'd get nothing but slimes, because if you see, I'm very low. If you can see on that, I was very low. I think it says 27, but I'm not sure, because it's very small on my my editing screen here. I just played this thing, and that was the great thing, was that the bits nearby, the first 512 blocks away, was going to be regular flat area to do this incredible thing. And then just outside of that was villages, tons of villages. And of course, tons of very, very noisy villagers. And I was supposed to put up a wall, and so that they couldn't get any closer. There were some sheep in the area, so I could make a bed. This was one heck of a great idea. And this would have been great for multiplayer, but I don't think everybody would have agreed if I had told them, I want you to go somewhere else and have a spawn outside of the of this part of the map. And of course, past the 1024 mark was going to be was a very large area, was these huge walls that surrounded it. So the stage was set for the 𝓚𝖚cast. It wasn't always a good thing. I went from strength to strength. I went from video to video, and I went from one thing to another, and then I started doing this episode. I started doing a Lord of the Rings series on the official server. The at the time, very, very laggy official server. I joined when I could and played when I could, and I said, there, you can see it's full. And I played on this island, which was far away from everybody else, because that way I could be sure of being uninterrupted. And all I had to do was to get enough gold blocks to surround the entire area. And by not showing anybody where I was, they wouldn't come after me and take over bits of it. Of course, I was showing it in my videos, but nobody was watching my videos, which was fine by me, as far as I could tell. Secret headquarters of the Doom Patrol, it says. Doom Patrol was an idea. Again, I was trying to get somewhere with this game. I wanted to fulfill my dream. Lord of the Rings was something I wanted to play, despite my getting tired of playing it in the old way and the old methods. And so I decided, let's join this thing and let's completely subvert. See, there's one of the gold blocks I had put. I didn't yet have banners, or am I about to put a banner? I don't remember this video. But my purpose was this. We're going to play this game. We're going to set up banners. We're going to make it into a huge fortress. We're going to flatten it if possible. Does that sound familiar? We're going to do a whole bunch of great things. And oh, look. This was something that happened regularly. Being idle for too long, you got kicked off. And I wasn't being idle. But I guess they wanted me to try to place blocks or something. I have no idea how it was they thought I was idle. Maybe I was just had a really low. But there's the placed banner. It was okay. I don't remember the details about what banners I had. But I've been playing for a while. It was my desire to play this game and to set up a tremendous thing. I was going to subvert everything. Back in the old days, the factions that existed, you had to join something or you had to run something, but they didn't have fellowships yet in the game. And so you built a building, you put up signs that indicates what you intend your faction to be like, and then you're basically the head of a faction like dwarves or something, or the something mountains, and they've got that. And so you just that would be your banner. You set that banner up. So there I am trying to build the whole thing. And I just played this thing one after the other. I just wanted to play it. There's the map of the island. For all I know, that island is still there, but they might have deleted it. They probably did delete it by now. I don't know if I want it back. I'd probably start again, and I'd probably do a better job this time. But it's a case of I don't really want to join them. Not because they aren't very good. There's my horse. I moved crops underground, so you don't have to worry about trampling the crops. I don't even know if I ever mentioned that. We had so much fun playing this, and I loved playing this regularly, even more regularly than I was playing this in 2015. Any of the mental block stuff. I think by 2015, we were still on season 6, but it was getting closer to the end. And then there were later seasons which weren't as good, and so I spent a lot more time over here. It's just the way I handle things. I did everything I could to cope with what I had to go through. And this was me trying to have fun. And pretty much succeeding, I should think. Time passes. I had a lot done. Within just a couple of months, within a few months, Lord of the Rings had expanded. I started a much larger base. The base was excellent, and then it all fell apart. This is the last episode I had on the official server, and I'm showing everything I did make, and many of the things I did not make, because all of this was destroyed later on. I was very, very, very upset. I hadn't finished building everything. There were areas I didn't even know about. Every time I logged back in on this, I didn't know what I was going to see next because I was always afraid somebody was going to grief my build. Of course, this wasn't a griefed build, but, just outside the build. Oh, and that was funny. But just outside the build was where anybody might grief anything and might in frustration and anger at me not to continue this sort of thing. I built this, and I loved it. And there I am saying hi to somebody. Fear Rippers. I don't even remember if Fear Rippers was a friend of mine or what on the server. Nobody wanted to join a Doom Patrol, so I decided we were going to be something like a Warriors Guild or something like that. And so here is big giant area that I'd finished. Big giant dining hall wasn't finished, but I finished the walls and I finished the ceiling. It was this huge area, but I was going to use this as a staging room to get the other stuff made, the other areas to be built. There's a little tower up the top of that, which was weird. I don't remember how I built that. I think I pillared it up or something. It's been such a long time. I was very, very serious about this. You can see I'm using nether brick, and we were allowed to go to the nether. This is where I stored my food. I loved this. This was my dream. And my dream was callously destroyed when, for whatever reason, when they reset the server, they ignored my request, or perhaps said, no, we're not going to honor that request. And because it's in the spawn town, and we can't do that. I'm like, I thought I was far enough away from the spawn area that there wasn't going to be any problems, but I guess there were problems. Look at that, me trying to get into there. They had a continuous problem. Definitely was getting into that furnace. Oh, there's the furnace. So we always had lag. And so I built all of that with lag. Anyway, I was very upset to see it go. And that's when everything started falling apart. I'd been watching 𝓚𝖏𝖃 and 𝓚𝖃, and they had a couple other people on the server. I really enjoyed it. I really liked watching it. And I thought, so what I did was I kind of shadowed 𝓚𝖏𝖃 and Mike for a while. And Mike was a really famous YouTuber even then. And 𝓚𝖏𝖃 had only a few views, and so I thought, here is my chance to get in with 𝓚𝖃 through 𝓚𝖏𝖃. I said, so I just shadowed his videos and I watched them and I commented on them. And I joined a couple of his live streams, or watching his live streams. And it got to the point where he found out I had a series on Lord of the Rings, which this is from episode 24, by which time he had asked me to join his server, so I did. And so I joined his server and he wasn't on. Of course, that was to be expected. But he wouldn't show up for anything. That was also to be expected. We eventually did some episodes together where we were doing stuff together, but it was really a case of I'm doing this and you're doing that, and we're going to do stuff separately. I played it, I enjoyed it. Eventually we had a series, a few episodes here and there, but the season was already like a third of the way through, or maybe half of the way through. Mike had stopped appearing in the series, and it was just him, me, I think Jeff, or maybe Jeff was the next season. I really don't remember. But we were all together. We were doing all kinds of things. But it was almost the end of the season already for him. And so I played, just play it. And this was his season 2, and it was my season 2, as far as I was concerned. And it worked, and we lasted for quite some time. And then we had a final battle, and if you want to see the final battle, there are plenty of there's plenty of it out there. After this, we did something called Season Not 2, because I was waiting for 𝓚𝖏𝖃 to make the next season map, which is going to consist of all these different builds, which I really wanted to add. And it was his idea to add them, really. I would have been happy not to add them, and then we could build our own. And that was one of my ideas, was eventually we could maybe keep the map going as long as we could and build as many things as we wanted. What I liked about being on 𝓚𝖏𝖃's server was that it was so free. I didn't have as much lag. Did you see any lag yet? Plenty of lag in the previous server, Hated that. I just hated that. So we played, and well, after a while, 𝓚𝖏𝖃 couldn't keep it going any longer. And so I said, well, I've got a server that I wasn't using. I was using it for not the 𝓚𝖗𝑧cast. 𝓚𝓚𝑧cast was single player, but I'd started something called Mental Block Modded. And it was going to be a small mod pack that included Lord of the Rings. Now, I don't think I've done any episodes of that. I don't think I've done very many episodes of Mental Block Modded that had the Lord of the Rings pack, but we did do it. Other people played it. But it just wasn't as thrilling. You can see roads now. Cool, huh? So we ended it after a big battle, and it was a fun battle. And then we started the next season. And the next season, which took a while to get started because we were waiting for him to build the server off of all of the different builds he was trying to add to it, like Morgul and Orthanc and Helm's Deep and all those. And he was really upset that he had to leave out Minas Tirith, and that becomes important later on.
What?
We're on somewhere.
Life visions things.
We've all got
Dang.
halos over our heads. We must be dead.
Yeah.
Starting as we did in 𝕬𝖒𝖊𝖘, we played it, Baggins, Mind of Mike Chazred, and myself. And I think Jeff was going to follow along, but he couldn't make it that day. In fact, I believe it ended up that he didn't get to play it at all that season, so it was just us. We worked really hard to make 𝕬𝖊𝖘 there, and it worked really, really well with Conquest Texture Pack. And I was just so disappointed when people were telling me that this texture pack was terrible, because my previous texture pack was really terrible. Everything was extra red and extra saturated and extra ugly, and it was a 16x pack. This was 32x, and I was debuting my new skin, or maybe it wasn't my new skin. I think I darkened it. I liked the previous version of it, but I like that I darkened this. Really had a feel to it that was something I really wanted. So we played, and we had a lot of fun playing, and we'd fall off things and get killed, and we had a really wonderful season that culminated one hell of a great battle, which I'm not going to show here, because, quite frankly, I have a lot to do today. I mean, it's been 30 minutes of just showing flashbacks at this point. So we're going to stop here in 2016. If you want to watch the rest of Season 3 and what Season 4 we have, you could do so. But we're going to head back now. During the closing months of Season Not 3, which was just after Season 2 ended, I started building in this place. I got pretty far with it, and I was going to intend this was going to be Season 3. The cube. As you can see, I didn't get very much done on the inside. It was all mostly temporary stuff. But it was worth it. There were places to go. There were things to do. And I did them. And it was all wonderful because things were very ideal. But then it was determined that, hey, why don't you be a bad guy, 𝕬𝖃? And I wanted to be a dwarf. This is me doing dwarf stuff. There's dwarven bricks. There's some Gondor, Black Gondor stuff, I think. I was like, I should be a bad guy. I started making plans for that, and I suddenly had an idea as to how it would be done on the new map which Chazred was putting together. And that was... This is beautiful. This is the tower, which takes a while to load now, but it's still here. Season 3, I moved here. I renovated it. I renovated this. I was going to build 3 more of these on the other 3 cardinal directions, and I never did get around to that, because Season 3 was so short, and I was making the best of it, and I did so much with this place. Hold on a second. Well, it doesn't matter. The point is, I changed the doors. I changed the interior. I changed, there's a little storage area underneath. I renovated some of the upper floors to fit what I wanted. And I had this place built in. And again, it all fell apart. Nothing I did would fix anything. In all fairness, I did get as much done as I could, but there was always more. There was always more to do. This place, we'll get to that in a minute. But the grandeur and the glory of 𝕯𝖃 was something I was really, really proud of, and something I was really, really happy about. And then, above all, there was this place, 𝓚𝒻𝒻, a place that I was absolutely fond of. I took one look at it and said, I'm going to take over. This is going to be a great place to set up. I'm going to renovate the place, and I'll use it as my main battle headquarters. Or rather, the battle headquarters would be over in 𝕯𝖃, but this was going to be big. Really, really big. This place has not changed too much from the way it was. I eventually started building stuff underground. I had a bunch of chests here. I never even used these chests. Many of what I had has been removed. Much of what I have done is gone. I was always going to build more and work on it. And I got about 25% of this done. And then it was time for the end of Season 3. And we had to fight. I don't want to be too loud about this right now. They might come after me. They've got to not come after me right now. I'll hide in here. I'll hide in here. Surely they won't find me. Good. I spent a lot of time on this base. And I spent a lot of time and it's all gone. I had to give up being a bad guy. Well, I didn't have to. But other people wanted to take over this base. And they wanted to take over 𝕯𝖃. And I said, you're entitled to it. Go ahead and take it over. But I want to keep working on 𝓚𝒻𝒻, I said. And they said, okay. But I had to eventually hand over 𝓚𝒻𝒻, and I was very, very upset. I wanted to keep it going. And I wanted to finish renovating it. I was only about 25% done with it. I was so upset when I had to leave it behind. I was like, where am I going to go? What am I going to do? And that's when my island came into it. I said, I'll start an island. And then I'll build a big, huge base on the island. But every time I worked on it, I had a newer idea. Finally, one day it was, okay, we're going to do a really great thing. It's going to be a pyramid. And I outlined how we were going to do the pyramid. It was going to be the biggest pyramid ever made in Minecraft. I still want to work on that. But there were problems, and it took longer to get things done. And I found myself busy suddenly with a new video series. If I just had only Lord of the Rings, that would have been fine. But it wasn't fine. I had to do other things. Now I have to manage 2 servers. Well, no more. No more, I tell you. This is the end. It's the end. I just can't do this anymore. No matter how much I wanted to work on this again, it was denied me. No matter how much my friends were working on other projects, that was still denied me. I had so many good ideas left. I went up this ladder where I created some swords at the top. It was quite the accomplishment. I was very happy. I'd come up with a storyline that I enjoyed, I appreciated, and I felt it was really worth something. Climbed up to the top into an area which is, I don't think it still looks like that, but we'll look and see what we got. This very darkened place is just as darkened as before. This looks different. Still not the top yet. Still not the top yet. That's still there. That doesn't look right. And from up here, we controlled everything. I had extra stuff up here. I had all sorts of statements up here. And here is the bad guy. I did it. But I had to stop being the bad guy and I had to leave. I said, that's it. I won't be doing this anymore. I wasn't done with the renovations, but who cared about that? This is 𝕚𝖃 as far as a lot of people are concerned. Oh, don't pay mind to him. He never finishes his builds. Who cares about him? Who cares about his ambitions or his want to sit on that throne? If that was really the throne. Or actually, the throne was back there, wasn't it? Who cares about that? Who cares about old 𝕚𝖃 interest in playing this game? He only got to play the game for so long before it becomes, well, enough. Anyway, it was just here. I was going to build a pathway that way and a pathway that way. As much as I could, anyway. There's a lava down there. I had a beautiful throne. Could sit on it. It was all wonderful. And now we have a problem. This wonderful structure I was going to build more of. I almost got it done. That is to say, I almost got to do the stuff I was intending to do. But I was just too far gone with all the other things I had to do. Statues were even built in the honor of this. I have to say it doesn't look very good in using this texture pack, but that's not important right now. Starting on the interior. Which I didn't get very far with that either. Hi. Can look out over the world here. And I could do a lot more with this. I was planning so much, and now I can't even do that. And why? Because time is of the essence, and I don't have the time. It is too much to get it all done. I mean, I could do it, but now the server is going to expire in April, and because of the amount of interest that I have in playing the game, I can't continue the server. Now you might say, well, that's a terrible thing. I mean, you should be able to continue the server. I can't. I can't continue it. In April it expires, and I'm going to let it expire as far as I'm concerned. I'm going to make the map available, and the other members will have to continue on Dark Times with their own server. Somebody else will have to take over the reins of running the server. It's not going to be me. And that's just how it's going to have to be for the time being. I don't think I'll be even joining Dark Times in future seasons. I'll keep track of it. I'll watch other people's videos. But I've just about lost any interest in continuing. And what's that from? It's from the knowledge that this server is not going to continue with me running it. I can't continue running it. I have things I wish to do. There is a book I wanted to write. Back when 𝕚𝖃 left at the end of, well, it was during Season 2. It was before the end of Season 2. 𝕚𝖃 announced she was going to leave Dark Times. It wasn't even called Dark Times. It was just Chazrad's server. And she wanted to do that. So what are we going to do here? Let's take some boats. Need them boats. I need boats. Take the boats with me. Go with them. I think of all the days of old and all the adventures of old, and I've had enough adventures for a lifetime. The Lord of the Rings has been a great mod, but I see signs of it not coming to an end, but I see signs of it not being updated as much anymore. I see signs of them not wanting to give it all the thing that it needed. I suddenly had this desire to build Minas Tirith, and I couldn't because of the height problem. And now that I had my height mod I've always wanted, I realized, quite belatedly, that this was not what I wanted to do. My friends were all great friends, and I was willing to play with them to the ends of the earth. They played less often after a while. Yeah, sure, some of them have hurricanes and broken legs and internet trouble and vacations, basically real life. And I love them for that, for for having real life and for having the brevity, that's not right, the braveness, the courage to come out and just say, I have something else to do and I'm going to do it. And I looked at this and I said, this is a wonderful place to be, but my enjoyment of it is coming to an end. There is only so much that I could do. And so there was only so much that I did do. I was very, very distraught. White sands, white shores, and beyond, who knows, maybe a sunrise. Although the sun actually comes in the other direction. So much has been done and said. My dream has died. How can the dream continue? My friends whom I played with are not here anymore. And even if they get back into the game, they are not here now. We are not doing anything together. We could arrange something and have a meeting and do things and start notching things up or ratcheting, setting things up. But this is the end. This is the end for me. I have spent a great deal of time thinking about this and knowing that it must come to an end. And I thought, wouldn't it be wonderful if it came to an end? And of course it is wonderful that it comes to an end. Love doing that. I'll never not get used to that idea. Stuff fall down everywhere. Love doing that, and I couldn't tell you why. But I am now at my wit's end. He looks longingly over the shores, looks longingly out across the ocean, knowing that his friends are there, but there is no escape. Long as he wanted to visit them, to join them, and to get away from this world that offers no vertical advancement, that offers no astra per aspera, only offers the downtrodden depths and the watery grave, and encounters with orcs. He looks up at the sky, the night sky, and how beautiful it is. He knows there is pretty much nothing more that needs to be said, for a man with a dead dream is a man whose dream cannot be rekindled without vast and incredible action. He must seek that action elsewhere, in other worlds. In other words, other places await.